Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Okay. I'm so glad to be back. Thank you so much for all your prayers. We love you. Thank you. Dr. Ayleen came over and readjusted me, and it was so. I had something going on with my knee where if I put any weight on my right foot, I screamed in agony. And it was something, she'll tell you all about it if you're interested. But she adjusted everything, and now I'm up walking around, and it's great. Poor Corky had to, just to get from me, from the bed to the bathroom, had to put me on the walker and push the walker. I live in a mobile home. The distance is maybe 8 feet, and I couldn't get there. I could not walk. Wow. And for any of you who've ever had that situation, you know it's not fun. And I was so excited. I got some pain pills from the doctor, and I thought, yay, no pain. No, but woozy and out of it, and little halos around people. And I thought, I haven't felt this good since the 60s. So, but it didn't do anything for the pain, but it was sure kind of exciting. So anyway, and last week my son was here. Some of you had a chance to meet my son. He was my stand-in.
Yes, he was. And, he did a good job.
Yeah, he came in and he was telling me all about the nice people he met here. So thank you for showing him a wonderful welcome. I really enjoy it. He lives all the way down in Oceanside, California. And so when he gets up here, I really love it. Do we have any birthdays this week? What is happening in November?
Or 9 months before November.
Or 9 months before November.
Had a birthday.
What?
Corey had a birthday.
Corey had a birthday, yeah.
Mary Gary had a birthday.
Mary Gary had a birthday, yeah. Regina has a birthday coming up on the 28th. So if any of you get haircuts by Regina, didn't know that. Now, I want to thank the volunteers. Yes. Ashley, thank you. Steph, thank you so much. It's wonderful to come in here and have all the work that you've done. And I love the decorations for Thanksgiving. That's incredible also. And so we want to let you know how much everybody that has supported us, we want to let you know how much we appreciate it. Because we used to have to, and as Dr. Ayleen knows, and Corky and April and all the people that would get in early to set up, it takes a village, and you have a wonderful village here at the Philly to Frank, and we want to thank you so much for all that. Now, I saw Gabrielle. Gabrielle was gonna say something. Steph, is she back there? She's not. Oh, she was gonna. When we see her, we'll grab her, okay, and say, okay, come tell the folks what you were gonna say. Today we have so many wonderful things happening because it's right before Thanksgiving. And I know that some of you have families, some of you don't have families. I know they're doing something here. That's why I wanted Gabrielle to be here so she could tell us what was happening. She will, I'm sure she'll speak in, okay? The other thing is, if you don't have a family and you feel like, I'm all alone, just stop a minute and say, I've got me. I've got me. And so many times people think that if you have just yourself, it's not okay. It's great. It's, you know, so don't get into a pity party saying, but nobody cares. If you don't care, then what happens? You get depressed, you get sad, you get sick. I mean, all of these horrible things happen when you don't feel you're enough. So we're going to be talking about compassion and forgiveness today, where sometimes you just have to forgive who you think you are. Don't you like that? Forgive who you think you are, not who you are, who you think you are. Because that's that little voice that says, you can't do that. You're no good. What did you do? What's happening? Why didn't you? Who, you know, blah, 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 blah. So stop doing that self-talk, I'm sure. I known it was going to happen when I said self-talk. I would have said it before. Thank you so much, Ed.
Yes.
Now, this is the person behind the screen over there. Yeah, he's the wizard, and I want to just, yeah.
It's been a screen.
Yeah, if you could give him a round of applause for it. Thank you so much.
I couldn't handle you talking to the microphone knowing it was just a fake prop.
I was doing it pretty well.
You were convincing.
Yeah.
So for those of you Zooming, 15 minutes ago, the main amplifier just quit. Turn it on, it would quit. And that kind of changes how I feed audio into your Zoom. The brand new cable that I bought last night from Guitar Showcase to make this better looks like it's got a problem in it. So I'm going to bring us back to normal sound, I think.
Okay.
So prayer is always good.
The prayer is good, so let's use that right now. Let's kind of go, yes, please. Let's have sound. We really feel good with it. And I have been talking so much about what was coming up for here that I almost forgot to talk about Night of Lights. Or were you going to mention this, Janet? Janet, Ayleen, James. Who else? Anybody else here that's part of it? Ed? Oh my gosh, yes, and Ed. So come on up and make that announcement, or
Okay.
both of you. Oh, we've got a duo.
Well, for a very particular reason. Right, for a very particular reason.
We've got a trio.
We've got our trio. So Light of Lights is now celebrating its 39th year. So we've done this at the Center for Living with Dying. It is a community ceremony where we all light candles, for those that we love or for any issue that we're struggling with this year. And so we're having a special dedication to our VTA family for the shooting that happened earlier this year. And we have community candles that we light, and they're so powerful for different issues that we're dealing with in our community. And then we invite you to light your lights, and there are candles, glass enclosed candles, that you will be able to then pick up the next day, because everything is virtual via Zoom. You'll be able to pick up your candle and continue burning it throughout the holiday season.
Okay, could I make a statement there?
Absolutely.
If they do that, and like Joyce and Patty live over in Santa Cruz, some of the people here live quite a ways away, could I pick up their candles for them and they could have them here Sunday?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great idea. So anybody that lights a candle here that would like a candle, we'll just give them to Dottie.
So you can take them home with you.
Yay! And we have a special Ms. Vice President.
And, you know, this is a little bit of a surprise, but it was for you.
Oh, okay.
So, as we all know, the home that had been CCL for many, many years, you know, that changed. And the fact that so many people were so comforted, so many people were so supported, and there were few who were supported in a greater way than the parent church itself, the Universal Church of the Master. Dottie and CCL were just always there, always supporting, always, you know, asking, how can this community help the parent church? And the huge gratitude that we have for you, the admiration, the love. I mean, quite honestly, you know, I would not have been a part of UCM had it not been for Dottie. And, you know, it has been an absolute honor to share, you know, this faith and this church with you as the one who brought me through that doorway. And you did that for so many others. And so in keeping with the idea that we need to honor those who serve, and there are a few who have served in the way that Dottie has, the Universal Church of the Master has a gift for Reverend Doti Boon.
Thank you so
It is
much.
presenting for the Center for Creative Living and all it has done over decades to support the church. And the original one ended up getting broken in shipping. So it took a little bit of extra time, but all things come to those who wait. And, you know, we look forward to continuing, you know, the wonderful relationship that we have. We know that CCL never stopped, that it simply has come into a whole new environment, and it's got bigger space and meeting new people. And we look forward to continuing the, you know, the amazing work that Dottie does and continuing to support that. So on behalf of the Universal Church of the Master, as Vice President and a past president, we want to present you with this.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And it says, presented to the Center for Creative Living. For 20 plus years, they have, with open hearts and open doors and generous heart, shared their healing vision with the world.
Oh,
Their
thank you.
healing
Thank
vision.
you so much. I don't know what here.
You can look at it. I'll put it back for you.
Oh, that is gorgeous. You know, I first looked at this and it reminded me of Mary. That looks like something you would do, Mary. That is so beautiful. Yeah. So not only am I going to thank you, UCM, I'm also going to be reminded of Mary. I like that.
Beautiful.
Put it right here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you. What a delight. That was a surprise.
Yeah, that one, thank you.
That is gorgeous. Thank you, thank you. I want to talk about something I saw last night on TV, and it was on Netflix, and it's called My Lesbian Grandmothers. My grandmothers are lesbians, that's what it was. Funny, good movie, because the people who made this movie, it's made in Cabo San Lucas, and you get it with English subtitles. They had in that movie almost every type of person imaginable represented. Rich people, poor people, black people, people on the spectrum, people who were going through conflict, people who lost their true love and found it back again. I mean, it was one of those kind of movies where afterwards, and it's over and you go, I want to see it again. There were so many. Every once in a while a movie like that comes along. And the other one is The Blue Miracle. For any of you who haven't seen that, it's a true story of a gentleman who ran an orphanage in Cabo San Lucas. Yeah, we just happened, wasn't it? It was somewhere like that, yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I've got my countries mixed up here. Anyway. Yeah, Mexico and Mexico, but you know what I mean, different parts. Okay. What? No, the miracle isn't. It can be. They both were in different languages when they started. Yeah, you just find that. Oh, boy, did you just do that? Did you just turn me louder, Ed? I was going to say turn. Yeah, I stopped short of saying turn me on. I really did. And
yet almost all of us were thinking it.
Yeah.
Can I Google it?
Sure. So I want to take this opportunity, if I could have my musicians come up, and we're going to do a meditation. I finally got to sleep at 5 o'clock this morning, one of those nights where you can't sleep. And as I was laying in bed, I put myself into a meditation. It didn't help, but it sure gave me an idea for today. I kept not being, anybody do that where you can't fall asleep? You feel that you've lost the switch. You know, you keep thinking, why? This isn't happening. I tried everything. Something happened. I woke up. Oh, hey, it's 9 o'clock. So I'd like you all to get comfortable and take a nice deep breath and close your eyes. We're going to go to the ocean. So just follow the sound of my voice. And and the wonderful music that's being offered to us. And you're standing, looking out at the ocean. And let's put you down at Sea Cliff. And your feet are in the sand, and the sand is warm. You're barefoot. So right now, just feel the warm sand on your feet and how good it feels. And stretching out before you is the Pacific Ocean. The sun is shining brightly. The waves are smooth as they come in. There's a few seagulls circling around. And you can smell the salt in the air. And you just decide you're going to move forward into the water. Just ankle deep, not enough to get scared by the waves. And as you're standing there, and your ankles are cool, and your feet are cool, and your head is in the sun, and it's warm. And as each wave comes in and gently laps against your ankles, you feel yourself going deeper and deeper into a state of relaxation. Each time you feel the water recede, you realize you're letting go of all the negativity you had this morning. Any hurry, any rush to get here that made you feel distraught. Any worries that you have about this day or this upcoming Thanksgiving, just take that worry and put it on the next wave as it goes out. The waters of the ocean go around the world. And as you let the water take your negativity away, you feel yourself standing up straighter. You feel your shoulders dropping and not so tight. You feel the sun shining on your back and on your head. And the next wave coming in brings love and joy and happiness. A little bit of a giggle to your toes. And now as the water recedes again, it takes away past life problems. Those problems that you feel you'll never be able to let go of. Give them to the healing waters. And let the water just let the water take away all those past life situations that arise now and then. Water has been healing since time immemorial. And right now, you're letting the largest oceans on the planet do its magic. And now here comes another gentle wave, bringing in more excitement, more energy for the day, more realization that you are amazing. And now it recedes again, taking away all the self-doubt, all the anger, all the feelings that the world is going down. A realization that our world changes just like the waves. Energy comes and then energy leaves. So let go of any anger. Just see it floating on the waves and going away. And now feel this next wave. It's a little bit stronger and a little bit higher than the rest. This is that wave coming up, coming all the way up to your knees, because it's so excited. This wave of energy coming up to your knees is bringing with it unconditional love and the spirit of Creator, all in one wave. Let that wave rush over you. And as it leaves, you realize how much clearer, how much more relaxed, and how much joyful you feel. Today's your day to start anew. Now keep your eyes closed as you listen to the wonderful musicians.
When I reach for your hand, it is beyond the pain into peace. When I speak to your heart, it is the comfort of release. We will hold each other's burdens. We will carry each other's sorrow. We can be with each other fully as we cast our net to tomorrow. May your heart be full of joy. May your soul be full of light. May your body be lovingly cradled in compassion's unconditional lies. I forgive you. I let my feelings of anger go. I can now see through all that kept us apart, and the veil of separation is gone. We do become the voice of one. Ooh. May your heart be full of joy. May your soul be held in light. May your body be lovingly cradled in compassion's unconditional eyes. Oh, may your heart be full of joy. May your soul be held in light. May your body be lovingly cradled in compassion's unconditional eyes. We can forgive, oh, and we can live. We can open up our hearts and take each other's energy in. Oh, we can forgive, let go of the burdens that we live with. May your heart be full of joy. May your soul be held in light. May your body be lovingly cradled in compassion's unconditional eyes. I forgive you, and I forgive me. I can see now it's through. The separation is gone, all that kept us apart. We now become the voice of one. We are the voice of one. We are one heart. Let the waves of healing fill every part of our life. We are dancing, we are dreaming, and we hold each moment forever. Forever.
open your eyes and come back to the room. Thank you very much, James and Janet and Sean. That was fantastic. When you came in today, there was a piece of paper on your chair. If you didn't get one and you're a part of a couple, would you please just take one? It's the words to the Island of Misfit Toys, which I have twisted our wonderful Sean's arm to sing for us. It's an incredible song. And we also want you to know, as I mentioned before, it talks about the light of lights on the back. Okay? And now I'd like to introduce our speaker. Sean Emler is not only a musician and a poet and a storyteller. He's also a healer, a shaman. He also is an author. He does so many amazing things. We have his CD that he's done. We have things that he's written. What? The book that he's written. Excellent book. And we never quite know what Sean's doing. Again, yesterday when I talked to him, he was working on his vehicle. This man wears many hats. Please welcome Sean Emler. Yeah. Oh, good. And if you push this button, you can see how much time you have. We need a, if anybody has a spare clock, we need a clock in here. I need to wander around and find the chair.
I love that. How much time do you have left? If you knew how much time you had left on planet Earth, what would you do right now?
I'd hug you.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not finished.
Well, I have more of a chance of that than you do right now. Thank you. Okay, I'm wobbling over.
Okay.
You want half an hour or 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so Dottie asked me to do this thing on the Island of Misfit Toys, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I wrote the song it's like 13 years ago, 14 years, something like that. It was a long time ago. It feels like another lifetime. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to say about it because I wrote it so long ago. I'm not even the same person I was. Your body replaces all of its cells every 7 years. I'm not even the same person I was. I don't even have the same body anymore. What was I thinking back then? I have no idea. So I thought, well, okay, so I'd like to do this talk on compassionate forgiveness because I just delivered a class on it last week, and all the material's really fresh in my head. And then I was looking back through my notes, and I realized, wait a minute, I did a sermon on that back in September of 2020. I can't repeat that. But the thing that there was a correlation. I was focusing on in the workshop compassionate forgiveness as it relates to you and another person, but I didn't talk a lot about how you forgive yourself. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to tie it back somehow at the Island of Misfit Toys. I don't know how or when that's going to happen. It might.
That's just with anything. That's us.
Yes.
I mean, some of you have read this and think, hey, that's.
So are you all familiar with the cartoon from Christmas time, the Island of Misfit Toys? It was released back in the late 60s or early 70s, I believe. And it really did stick with me for a very long time. But I wasn't the clever person that came up with the idea of creating a song about it. It was my friend Darwin. We were having a conversation probably in a bar in San Francisco, you know, about 15 or so years ago, 20 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was. And he made the correlation between San Francisco and the gay community to the Island of Misfit Toys because we're all like a bunch of misfits. Now, I know that not everybody in this room has the same kind of experience with the gay community that I have. But my experience, especially in San Francisco, is that there are all these little burbs and everyone has its own bar and every bar has its own identity and the type of people that go there. And this group doesn't talk to this group. Actually, it sounds a lot like high school. And it's kind of funny how people are still acting like children as adults. And people do this in bars, and people do this in the gay community, and people point fingers at each other, and they talk about that person in not so good ways, and they make fun of that person, and they dish, and call people names, and et cetera, et cetera. And all of that is just very human, because we actually do that culturally with each other from country to country, from border to border, from one side of the street to the other side of the street. So you can't say that really the gay experience is unique in any way. It just has its unique flavor to how it is human. And so when I wrote the song, I was thinking, so this isn't really about the gay community, it's about the world in general. And so if you read the lyrics, I go through a lot of stuff. I'll sing the song for you. I'm going to go through it really fast because, well, you'll see. Some of you are familiar with it. I've been performing it here for 10 years or so. And, but it does fit with it fits with every enclave of humanity, every personality type, every group of people. We're all striving to do our best. But the thing that I wanted to make the correlation to my talk on forgiveness was that all of the name calling and the finger pointing, all of those things all come from our own insecurities, and our own insecurities are built up as collections of what I call filters. I kind of look at it like this. So we often look for God outside of ourselves, or we look for a guru outside of ourselves, or we look for the meaning of life outside of ourselves. But it's all actually in here, because the spark of life exists within every human being, within every animal, within every tree, within every plant. But what happens, what humans do, because we have free will, is we have the ability to snuff that light out. We have the ability to make it so dark that we can't see the light in the world around us, because our own light is dimmed, and so we project that dimness out into the world, and then we see dimness coming back to us. It's a reflection. It's a mirror. So the amassing of conditions from our childhood, of belief systems that aren't even our own, but we install them in our brains when we're very small children and then become our belief systems. There are all these things that actually prevent our light from shining out into the world around us. The filters, the things that we build up around us. So I've been holding this coffee for a long time. I'm going to take a drink really quick. It's actually, it's not a prop. I just didn't get to finish my coffee. So I did put some notes together because there's some things that I wanted to be able to be very clear about what the liberation of these filters might be like. So things like, there's something that I call selfing. Selfing is being so stuck on your own thoughts that you cannot see what is happening or feel what is happening in the world around you. So if we do that, because imagine that we build up all these filters around us, and then everything that tries to get out just bounces back immediately. Our thoughts do this. Our belief systems have emotional energy behind them, so that we tend to project them a little bit further than we do our thoughts. Think about how you would like your car to turn into a beautiful red Lamborghini in the driveway right now. It's probably not going to be that way. I won't say it won't, because I don't know how powerful your thoughts are. But for the average everyday human being, and those in this room and those on YouTube, if we went out to the driveway right now, chances are our thoughts were not powerful enough to make that happen. But our emotional energy actually carries a lot further. It's much more powerful. So Mel, I'm gonna call you out. I'm sorry, I'm gonna use you as an example this morning, so forgive me. We were driving up the freeway. So Mel has this habit that I don't like. And the habit is when somebody drives in a way that is incongruent with how he feels people should be driving, he calls them names. And I say, don't get all emotionally charged in that, because every time that you send that out to the world, not only are you throwing a dart at that person, but you're also perpetuating the emotional energy that you put into the event. If you're never going to stop people from driving in ways that you don't agree with, because we live in a free will universe and anything can possibly happen. You have to be prepared for it. You can't control what they're going to do. You can only control how you react to it. You can choose to respond and say, okay, wait a minute. I'm not going to throw darts. I'm actually going to transform this energy right now. I'm going to turn it into something useful, make fertilizer out of it, rather than throwing darts and empowering it. So you can't change what's going to happen in the world, but you can change how you respond to it. And then what happens is, because you've changed that part of the filtering that's happening in you, that becomes able to send more light out from the God within you, the creative force within you. And then what happens is good things happen around you. You start to transform things into reflecting the light, and then you get that back. So you are creating a self-reinforcing mechanism. Every time that you take responsibility for how you respond to a situation, you will continue to get a reinforcement of that behavior, because we're pattern-driven creatures. Have you noticed how easy it is to establish a habit? Just try to stop binge watching Netflix for a weekend and you'll see exactly what I mean. We create patterns really fast, and it happens from our emotional energy. Our emotional energy is much more powerful than our thoughts, and we send that out into the world. So we have to take responsibility for those things. So letting emotions run through you instead of dominating you. Right, so we can sit in our cloud of dust. I'm thinking of Pigpen from Peanuts, but that's like what our filtering is like. Just imagine that each one of us is carrying around us the aura of the emotional energy that we're embodying in each and every moment, and it's like this dust cloud. Curlian photography takes a photograph of it, calls it the auric field, and you can see how light gets dimmed, or there's another type of photography developed in Russia. I can't think of the exact name of it at the moment, but when somebody is radiating love and light, the field around them is very smooth and vibrant. And when somebody is radiating a lower vibrational emotional state, it's very jagged and it's very small. And the variance of the level of color, like I'm just looking at the rainbow that we have behind us on the back wall, the variance of those colors is diminished. Somebody that's more vibrant is radiating all of those colors, and it's doing so in a very smooth way. And then somebody that is radiating lower vibrational emotional states, it's jagged, and you might only get one or two colors out of it, and it radiates throughout the entire body unless there's an illness somewhere, and then you might see that somebody's holding emotional energy in the body. In Chinese medicine, you hold emotions in the different organs of the body, and the way that pathology gets perpetuated is that if we have a condition that we are doing over and over, we could say, like, let's say you have jealousy with your sister, and the jealousy is perpetuated over and over, and then she does something that's really fantastic, and then you're extra jealous. And then what happens is we store that energy somewhere in the body that feels appropriate at the time, instead of releasing it naturally. And then each time you get another instance of jealousy, and it cannot be just with your sister, but it could be with anybody, and you can't process it correctly because the body makes a habit out of storing that emotional energy in the same place. Let's say it's your hip bone, and then you end up with a weird hip bone situation. In photography, you might take a picture of somebody and you can actually see that there is collected energy in the form of light, vibration, which shows itself as light through color, and then the color gets really diffused. It's mixed, like sticking purple and green and orange together. You get, well, I'm not sure what you get. Not pretty. That's what gets stored in the body until you learn how to release that energy. So if we had liberation from these filters, imagine letting the light of our soul express itself, illuminate, cut through the filters, and move out into the world around us. Like I said, it doesn't mean that it's going to change what happens in the world, but it has the opportunity to influence what happens in the world. Everything is moving like a snowball downhill, and you can veer the course of that, so rather than hitting a town, it runs into a tree. Like, that's the power that we have emotionally. And when we feel like the world is out of our control, it's actually something that we influence a little bit at a time, rather than feeling like we have to do some great big thing, like start up I don't know, a campaign and go to Washington and hold a march. Not that those things are bad, but to think that you're going to get there instantly it actually takes a lot of preparation. It takes a lot of small steps to get to that place. And a lot of times what we do is we stop ourselves from being able to take the small steps because we see the big picture and think, there's no way I could possibly accomplish that. Well, that's right. You can't accomplish that all at once, but you can influence each and every step that you take. The more inner light that you're illuminating out into the world around you, you can see where that light wants to go. You can see what change you can actually make, how you can affect change. So I'm going to give some ideas of what these filters might be like in each and everyone's lives. So I'm going to go through a list, and I want you to just, if you hear something that makes sense for you, just check it off so that we can do a little exercise toward the end of this talk and see if we can transform that. So doubt, whether you can or can't doesn't really matter, but we believe that it does. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right, because we are neurally wired to reinforce perceiving what we believe to be true, right? The reticular activating system, the part of the brain, the example that I like is like, I always wanted this particular blue BMW. I saw it in the lot. I thought, oh, how fabulous it was. God, nobody has one like this. And you get it, and suddenly you see everybody's driving one. Like, how did that happen? Well, it's not that all of a sudden everybody was driving one. It's all of a sudden you noticed it, right? This is how the brain works. So whatever you put your focus and attention on, the world around you will start to show you what it is that you're thinking about. So let's chew on that for a moment. Procrastination may simply be a stuck program where an endeavor failed. Doubt. Because we focus on the things that we tend to not like easier than we focus on the things that we do like, we have a tendency to fixate on stuff. And this is where one of the things about self-forgiveness becomes really important, is that whenever you've had a situation that you thought that you couldn't do something because you tried it once and it didn't work then, well, often it takes more than one time to practice at something to refine it. Like, oh my gosh, I've been playing guitar for since I was a teenager, and well, if I picked it up and tried to play it for the first time like Jimi Hendrix, it would be a complete disaster. But if I said, oh my God, I can't play this. People do this with meditation all the time. I have this idea that I'm going to be able to shut off the thoughts in my brain. I'm going to close my eyes now. I'm going to focus on my breath. I'm still thinking. I'm still thinking. I'm still thinking. God, I can't meditate. Forget it. You have to practice. It doesn't come instantly. Nothing ever does. But we often instill the idea that we can't do something because we tried it a couple times and we didn't get the results that we were expecting, or the results that our sister got. Right? So this idea of, I'll get to comparison because it's another one, but that doubt, do not believe it, right? I always say don't believe everything you think. Not my saying, you've heard it before, I'm sure, but it's really powerful. I really want you to get that message about how powerful that little sentence is. Don't believe everything you think, because the brain is a thinking machine. That's what it's designed to do, amongst a few other things, like keeping our body healthy, alive, and keeping the immune system going. But it thinks. It'll go through every nuance of a thought. It'll see it from every side. It'll rearrange the words in that thought just to see it from all these different perspectives. Does that mean that any of it's true? Question everything that you think. Another thing around fear, actually, let's not go into fear. Let's go into unworthiness, because this is a really powerful one. The belief that you must earn your value as opposed to having intrinsic value. Ouch. So, we often don't get told or taught from our parents or from our teachers that being human, you are a gift, that you are special. Because we, as a collective consciousness of human beings, we've been stuck with each other for thousands of years. And so we've had a lot of time to evaluate how imperfect we are. And then we pass that down from generation to generation. And the truth is that we're actually perfectly imperfect. We've always been that way. But nobody told you that. And so there's this feeling that you have to be special, and you have to take that specialness and you have to be different than everybody else. And then when you're different than everybody else, you have to be the best at being different. It's a huge burden that most people have to carry, and it's perpetuated by small ego situations from our parents and our teachers and our peers that believe that. And so there's never any opportunity for us to think differently, right? So we're like sponges when we're children. We only take in what we see around us, what we hear around us. We don't have logic and reason. We can't go, you know, I can imagine the 4-year-old like, you know, Mom, I was just reading this article in Scientific American and it's totally inaccurate. We just can't do that, right? So it's really important to know that you have the creative force of the universe inside of you. That light that's getting snuffed out, it's actually keeping you alive. It is actually the consciousness that feeds all of your cells. It tells your stem cells whether it's going to be a heart or it's going to be a liver. That's amazing. There's a miracle happening inside of us all the time. Yet the brain and its thoughts and all the programming that gets put in there gets in the way and makes us think that we have to earn something. What if the thing that we had to earn was only just the ability to send love and appreciation to our experiences? And then we get to earn the ability to shine brighter and brighter and brighter. That's the only thing that we ever really need to do. So we would be operating from a higher vibrational emotional state, right? I kind of think like bliss and ecstasy as kind of being the top tier of emotional expression as human beings. But spirit, that's the lowest. That's like, that's where it starts. So I would call this our essential nature. Our essential nature is to be at that level where it starts for spirit, that bliss, joy. That's what we're actually made out of. So these filters are actually, they're snuffing out our light. They're making our vibration lower and lower and lower. I think of it like sound. What we experience as human beings is like a whoa, 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 whoa. And joy is like, right? And we're sitting in this continuum between these two. When we do all of the, what I call the work, you know, the taking care of our belief systems, taking care of our filters, doing our self-healing, showing compassion, showing love, then we start vibrating faster and faster. So there's nothing to earn. There's never been anything to earn. It actually is already there. We'll talk about the need to be validated. So, joy. And I don't have really high voice. I'm sure that Janet's joy is probably like. So needing to be validated is dependency on other people. So when we are looking for others to tell us who we are, when we're giving our power over to other people to show us how good we are or whether we've earned that thing, we need to hold our power, right? We need to contain it. Don't give it to other people to show you or to tell you or inform you about who you are, because those people will never really know what your experience is and what you've earned as far as your shining of your own inner light. They'll never know that. You're also possibly giving your power over to people that don't have the capacity to know who you are, to know whether you are great or not, because they themselves have not refined that for themselves. So you don't want to give your power over to somebody that can't give you back the power that you need. You need to look within yourself to experience that. And then the other thing is not being good enough, right? This is like shame, which unfortunately, Shame is a tool that many parents use to get their children under control, not responsibly, right? Because shame, you know, that difference between shame and guilt, guilt being that it's the thing that you did that's bad, as opposed to you are yourself bad, meaning the foundation at which you are standing on as a human being is somehow broken and can never be repaired. That's shame. And parents often, they don't even realize that they do this when they're teaching as parents that method of trying to control their kids, trying to get them to do the right thing. They often point the finger and say, you are bad. And the children, they just internalize it as, oh, I'm fundamentally broken. And then this is why the gay community in the Island of Misfit Toys actually really hits home, because many parents, when gays come out to their parents, they get shamed. The truth is they've probably already been shamed a lot in their childhood. And then they get the ultimate shame, which is, and this happened to me actually, when I came out to my dad, he refused to talk to me. He shunned me. He shamed me. That was what he did. I didn't talk to him for, oh, I don't know. I think it was probably about 1.5 years or 2 years. I thought he had written me out of his life. And my mom actually convinced him somehow to pull himself together, that I was more important than his idea of who I was. So I liked it too, because I got to talk to him again. I won't even go into where that went, because that actually could have gone both directions and I would have been okay with it. But so teaching through shame never works. And, you know, I wish I remember the name of this book. I was reading a book on shame, and there was an example of drug use in England. We were talking about the gay community and how rampant sexual behavior associated with drug use had gotten, and a particular client that this psychologist had. And it was shocking, the way that he thought about himself and the situations that he was putting himself in because of shame. It was, to shock me takes a lot, actually. I'm 52, I've been around the block a few times now. So I was like, oh my God, this is where this can go. You can really debase yourself to a level that most people cannot even consider. So, yeah. So another filter I have on here is distortion. That kind of feeds into some other things, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But comparison, this is the big one. I don't even need to read the list to talk about what happens with comparison. You cannot truly be you if the you that you believe you are is or should be like another person, because you are uniquely you. 8 billion people on this planet, and no two are exactly alike. Even twins that are born just minutes apart can be completely different. Your experience is unique to your experience. And I talk about this on a soul level. If you think about, let's just say that you only believe that you have this one lifetime and then it's over. But in the psychology, you have the experience of the collective unconscious. Now, Carl Jung was pretty clear about all of the different archetypes and personality types that come up in the collective unconscious. There are within you all of the facets of being human. And we've practiced at it for thousands of years. So if you think that you are uniquely you and you're only going to have this one lifetime without the influence of the rest of humanity, you've got another thing coming, because we do not live in a box. We cannot live in a box. We reflect everything that occurs in the world around us. We assimilate information. We try to do something with that information to be the best that we can be in the situation with the information that we have to work with. This is happening constantly. But if you do believe in reincarnation, then it gets really interesting. There are many lifetimes and many experiences in which we get the opportunity to refine the lesson plan that we come into this lifetime with, so that we can experience who we are and what will develop us in just the right way? What will help this soul evolve in just the right way? So to compare yourself to another human being, it's like, I don't know, it's like comparing Venus to Saturn. You don't really understand Venus and you don't really understand Saturn. You have this idea that you studied astronomy and somebody's going to talk about the solar system and giving you the idea of these two planets, and Saturn has rings and Venus has a weird orbit. But other than that, you just like, they're just these two things out there. That's about the level of information that you have to actually compare yourself with another human being. However, we do it all the time because there are certain things that we want to achieve and goals that we set for ourselves. But this really gets in the way. Parents, back to shame, why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be like your sister? Well, you can't be like your brother or your sister because you're not your brother or your sister. So when we get these messages installed in our heads by our parents, we will go back and question ourselves over and over and over throughout our entire lifetime until we bring an end to the thinking process, until we realize that there's not going to be anything useful by comparing yourself to another human being. So I'm getting the that thing that they give you in the Academy Awards. Wah, 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 wah. So, and that was my song. I've never actually heard that on the Academy Awards. So there are 3 different positions that happen between human beings that bring about our need for forgiveness. The position that we often associate with when something's been done to us is the victim. The other is the perpetrator, and the two can't exist without each other. But there's this third. The third is the witness. There's always, even in a trial, there's always a jury. So you have the plaintiff, you have the defendant, and you have this third party that's going to say, okay, with all the information that you're giving us, how do we determine what is going on here? And their position is to be as objective as possible, to not take emotional energy, which we've amassed for years and years and years, and turn that emotional energy into logic, right? Emotions are not rational. And so that's why they always pick jurors that don't have any affiliation with the case or any similar case, so that they don't let their emotions get involved and they can look at it objectively through clarity. Back to meditation. So any of you that have realized that, okay, my thoughts are actually never going to stop. It's just going to be how it is. And then I need to deal with those thoughts. Well, the most powerful way of dealing with those thoughts is to step into the objective position, the witness, to see what is occurring without any attachment to what is occurring. That in meditation puts us into a space that you realize that you are you, and you're not going to stop being you, but you've tuned in to a higher level of vibration that doesn't have the same emotional charge as lower vibrational emotional states, fear, guilt, shame, rage, anger, but actually has a refined, remember, the top tier is joy. And it doesn't mean that we're going to step into bliss when we step into the objective self while we're meditating, but it does mean that your vibration is more refined. And when it's more refined, you're going to be less attached to all of the events that occurred in you when you were a child, or when you were in heartache because of that relationship that just ended, or when you got in that car accident and they wrecked your new blue BMW. You're not going to be associating yourself with those events. You're objective. You're seeing things clearly. So what I want you to think about right now is there something that you would like to forgive yourself for? And it could be anything. It could be, I shouldn't have called my mom and got angry with her last week. It could be, I shouldn't have let the dog out and it peed on the next door neighbor's car's tire. It doesn't really matter what it is, but just pick something. It could be huge if you want it to be. Something that you feel has been grabbing your attention, grabbing your energy, taking your energy from you, snuffing out your light, filtering you. And then create a persona that is an objective person. So I think of like Miss Marple or Sherlock Holmes. It could be a detective that only looks at things without emotional energy, but just sees the logic and reason behind every event, behind every action, every person's motive. You can dress that person the way that you want to dress them. If it's Sherlock Holmes, you put a funny detective hat and a magnifying glass. You could be a fairy and have wings. I'm looking at Mary. It could be whatever you feel creates an objective opinion of what is happening around you. Stick yourself in a movie theater and imagine that event playing out on a stage in front of you in just a way that you can see all of the characters involved in the situation. You can see you, the way that you're dressed, the way that you look, and see if you can separate yourself by identifying with the objective character that you've developed. How would they think? How would they feel? How would they observe? What are their mannerisms? What would they smell like? If they're wearing a jacket or a dress or a scarf, what would that smell like? Really associate into that person and pretend to be that person as much as possible. Sit yourself in the movie theater. Smell the popcorn. Sit in the seat. Feel the comfort of it. You know, if it's one of those velour seats, you can feel your back moving against the fibers of the velour. And then watch the situation on the stage and see if you can put together the timeline in which this event started and ended and all of the things that were involved, and play it over and over and over until you see it clearly, until you have the mind to see it clearly. Do that as many times as is necessary to get all of the component parts. And then what you do is play the whole thing in reverse. And as you watch everything going in reverse, characters moving backward, voices saying things backwards, start to unwind the entire thing in your mind, in your body, playing it in reverse, and then desaturate all of the color out of it. So that as you're watching it, all of the color that you're seeing is going to black and white. Then you can even do things like, as you're playing in reverse, you can blur it. Start out focused, start out in color, play it in reverse, desaturate all the color, and then make everything very blurry. And then what you can do is you can play it backwards and you can desaturate the light. So you can start with everything very vivid and light. And then as you're playing it backwards, slowly make it darker and darker and darker. And what you're doing is you're unwinding this from your consciousness. So as you've done this a few times, another little piece that you might want to try out is if you can actually allow yourself to feel the experience completely. So this is another step, which would be sometimes what we do is we have a tendency to imagine that the person that you are did that thing because of these situations, right? Well, I got angry because my mom made me angry and I had to do that thing because I was so angry. Or I did that because I didn't have a good enough education. If I had only had a college degree, this thing wouldn't have happened and I would have had, some fabulous outcome, and it's all blamed on the education. So we have a tendency to blame ourselves for situations or to blame other people for the state of the situation. And then what we do is we make these excuses rather than actually feeling ultimately how we feel about the situation. So what I recommend doing is throw a pity party, like really get into it. Feel all the things that you need to feel. Like really give yourself the opportunity to say, oh, I don't have this education. I'm so stupid. This is really terrible. And a lot of people will say, oh, no, don't do that because you're going to reinforce it. No. Just get to what it is that you're actually feeling. Stop sugarcoating it. Stop spiritually bypassing it. Just get in there. Really get into how you feel about the situation, because that needs to be released. Then that objective self that you step into really has a lot of stuff to work with, right? Because you've gone in and you've fully felt it as much as you can possibly feel it. Now, sometimes it's good to have somebody to listen to you. Even when you're throwing the pity party and most people are like, I don't know what you're, nah. But sometimes you can get somebody that'll just listen. If you choose to ask somebody to listen, make sure that they only listen, right? So you have to set up this caveat. If you're going to listen to me, and I've asked you to do this because you're my friend and I trust you and I love you, they cannot offer any suggestions. They cannot try and fix it. Like, that's not what it's about. They're just a sounding board. You can do this writing too. Like, get the journal out, really just lay it out, unfiltered, just go for it. Then you have all this stuff out of you. And that's what you want to do, is you want to get it out somewhere, using the voice, the power of will, expressing it, using the handwriting, actually accessing your brain. Corky knows how powerful this is, to actually get a pen and paper out. So that's what I recommend. And then once you're done, you need to do an integration process. So once you've done the whole process and gone through the healing that you need to go through, get it out some way physically. Go for a walk, do a meditation while you're walking, breathe in, breathe out. Imagine that you're taking all the energy that you've been holding up around this subject. Breathe it out, exhale into the ground. Mother Earth loves that kind of stuff because it's fertilizer for her. Breathe in her love into you, get a nice cycle going of exhaling, breathing out, all of the stuff that you need to get rid of. Let Mother Earth take it for you. Breathe in her appreciation for you through love, up through your roots, up through into your heart center. You can do a mandala, like sit on the ground, get some stones, get some leaves, build something on the ground that's really beautiful. You can draw it out with pen or paper. You can use paint. Other integrations that you can do are using sound, which is one of my favorites. If you play an instrument, great, but you don't want to, you just want to hit one note on the piano, right? We're not talking about like throwing out a whole song, but just getting into one single note, letting the pitch of it represent the vibration in your body that needs to escape. You can do that through oming, just using vibration and om, really getting into the part, because that's where the power is. It's not in the o, it's in the because that's what triggers the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, it travels from the brain down through all the organs of the body. And humming, it goes right by your vocal cords. So if you hum, then you're stimulating all the places that nerve endings might be going to that have held the belief systems and the filters in place. And so you start to break apart the energy that's been held there. Give you a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions? Am I crazy? Oh, good. So I know that Corky gave me a 10. James, yeah.
Hostility, your DNA is affected. You're affected at the epigenetic level. It's not just like energy, it's also the formation of your protein, of your physical self.
You know, we could be here for another hour. I couldn't even do it justice by giving it 60 minutes. It would take like 60 years. But yes, all of this stuff is held in our DNA. We pass this down through our ancestral genes. All the traumas that have been given to us by our parents and their parents and their parents ad infinitum. We are here to resolve that.
Thank you.
That's why we came here. As a collective species called humanity, it's each and every person's responsibility to do our healing, because we have to heal our ancestors. They're still hanging out here with us. They haven't gone anywhere. Remember, time is only constructed by one part of the brain to give us the experience of being human, but truly there is no time and space, and there's another part of our brain that knows that. So our ancestors are here with us, they're inside of us, and that is, yeah, I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but thank you, James.
Sing.
Okay, and then I'll sing.
Yeah. So, Island of Misfit Toys. This is the song.
But let's get you a applause.
Oh. So, Ed, is it okay if I just kind of hang out here? Would that work? Yeah? Okay, he says yes. All right.
Do you feel disconnected and a little disrespected? You don't fit right in. Come with me, you're not alone. There are things you've not been shown, a different point of view. I'm kind, it's divine on the island of misfit toys. We have gifts to give the world. They're inside every boy and girl, but some of you don't know. Tune them in and stop expressing. Walk with pride and share your blessing. You're doing the right thing. Where's the moon? We have room on the island of misfit toys. It's in me, it's in you, it's the taming of the shrew. It's the comedy on top of us, the kindred of the metropolis. I sense it, a lesson. We're gonna be progressing to attain a higher order, existing without borders. I say this because I'm different, I'm normal and informal, and we're not in isolation. Well, standing at the station, what's the special gift that you got? You don't use a whole lot, is it sitting there and waiting like a crowd anticipating, watching NASA launching rockets, swirling sockets, the holes go in our pockets, like the memories in our lockets. Try to get to where we were, where we is, what we was, excavating and spelunking, getting down and getting funky. Gotta culminate the history, swing it to the present. It's a gift I gotta give, and not be hesitant. I can't do it solo, gotta put it in the code, or get wired when I'm tired. Gotta keep this baby fired. It's a unit, a collection, extensible introspection. I struggle with the plexum, I hit the inner spectrum. Although we're isolated, but together with the force of an identity, an entity, a common thread that's meant to be discovery, recovery, spirit that is suffering, instigator, regulator, hooked the defibrillator, supercharged, living art, part of the community, accepting that our differences create a chatter unity. We're poets, musicians, we're nurses and physicians. Some are say, some are not, but we're given what we got. We don't judge you by your color, religion, or your race. We accept you if you're broken, and we're fearlessly outspoken. What's inside is our pride, and it's something we won't hide. We believe that imperfection is the gate to introspection. Raise the moon, we have room on the island of misfit toys. Share your gift in the lift on the island of misfit toys. Raise the moon, we have room on the island of misfit toys. 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 The island of misfit toys.
for Thanksgiving.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gabrielle with the Billy DeFrank Center. Yay! So we've started decorating for Thanksgiving because we are thankful that you are here. We are thankful that we are all here, if you know what I mean. So on Thanksgiving Day, we are going to be open from 11 to 2, and we will have food here. If you're one of those people that would rather bring your own, that's fine too. Nobody will be insulted. And I wanted to say that San Jose Water called me in, you know, like, who is this? Called me in for their, Operation Gobble. And Assemblyman Evan Lowe picked the Billy DeFrank Center to receive what they used to give out turkeys, but last year, because of COVID, they gave out Safeway gift cards. And they realized that not everyone likes turkey, and not everyone would eat a whole turkey, especially if they live alone. And so they said, we're going to give you to be able to give out $25 Safeway gift cards for Thanksgiving. And I thought it was just, you know, a handful. They gave me a box. And when I got back to the office, oh my God, I'm going to be able to give some out at Christmas as well. So please come to Thanksgiving, enjoy the thanks for everything, and you'll get a Safeway gift card if you need one. It's like, oh my goodness, I love that. The other thing I want to tell you is that yesterday was Trans Day of Remembrance, remembering the 45 transgender people that have been murdered in the last year. And I went to the event, and on Wednesday, they're going to come and put the whole display up at the back of the ballroom. So for Thanksgiving Day, we will have the pictures and the stories of each of the transgender people that have been murdered. And the really important thing about Trans Day of Remembrance is mourn the dead, but fight for everything for those who are living. You know, so that's a slogan: fight like hell for the living. Using the word hell is kind of weird, but anyway, yeah, it's very much a wake-up call that some groupings of people are more vulnerable than others, and that we are here for everyone, for their vulnerabilities as well as their strengths. So thank you. See you at Thanksgiving.
Grab a basket and hang it to somebody, and hold it to somebody, give it to somebody, either way.
Well, I tell you what, if we could have, oh, mask off. Thank you for the reminder. If we could have folks who will take these around and to give you a moment to kind of, you know, get out whatever it is. And also, please, if there is nothing you have to put in, then you could always put in a prayer request or just hold your hand over the basket and put in blessing and think positively toward it, because abundance can come in very many forms. Abundance can come in financial, but abundance can also come in love. Abundance can also come in compassion, you know, service, and all the things that any place where you can see that it could use a little bit more. That is abundance. And abundance isn't just having enough. It's always having more than enough. Abundanza, that more than enough. And please understand that each and every one of you is more than enough. So each and every one of you embody abundance. And something that, I would like to, put in as a reminder that while there are many who love this time of year, there are many who, get very jazzed up over the rush and the craziness of the year. There are those who do not. There are those who have a very, very, very hard time for whatever reason. I mean, it could be everything seems to be going great, but for some reason they still feel, sort of lost or feel sort of, kind of a down feeling. And if you tend to fall into maybe that second group a little bit, first, I'm sorry. Second, you're not alone. Third, you have every right to feel what you feel and you don't have to justify it. Identify what it is that you need, what might help you in that moment, and let someone know. Because often people do want to be supportive, but they just don't know how because they don't know what you may need. And it doesn't have to make sense to anybody. Maybe you need somebody who will, go to a silly movie with you. Or maybe you need someone who will hold your hand while you cry. Maybe it's someone who, as Sean said, can just sit and listen to what you're going through as, maybe you do need a pity party. But there's no judgment on that. And please don't judge yourself. Don't feel that what you need has to make sense to anyone but you. And let someone know, let others know. If you're not having an easy time, if you're not okay, it's okay not to be okay. And it's even more okay to let someone else in. And you choose who you let in. And maybe the person you let in is not, maybe they're not able to hold that for you, but there's someone else who does. And there's always someone who can hold that for you. And this is an amazing space. And, CCL and UCM and the Billy DeFrank Center are really, really good at being able to help hold a space for somebody. So take a nice deep breath in. And as you let it out, let anything weighing on your body, your mind, or your spirit to fall into a little imaginary basket next to you, because that's your care basket. Because in this space and at this moment, you don't need to hold on to it. And consider that if you're done with it, you can leave it behind. Dear, blessed, and wonderful Creator, we thank you for this day and we thank you for our lives. We thank you for every single gift of every moment and every breath. We thank you for all the blessings that you give, even the ones we don't know you're giving, because we know that you are managing things that are outside even of our conscious thought to protect us and take care of us and to help move us forward, to bring us those challenges that will help us to be more and to comfort us in those moments when we feel less. Creator, thank you for all you give and all you are. And thank you for making us what we are and helping us become more. Thank you for the blessing of communities, of fellowship, of support. And we know that you're aware of all the hard things that are happening, and it breaks your heart. And we also know that you would not take us anywhere where your grace will not protect us. Thank you for being our best friend. Thank you for being that good parent. Thank you for being that compassionate place where we can go with the things that we can't take to anybody else in this world, yet we can bring it to you. Thank you for the fact that there is no time when you do not love us. Thank you for being willing to put up with us when we're mad at you for things that we've chosen. Thank you for the companionship you bring us in those hard moments when we do feel alone. Thank you for this wonderful world that we are so blessed to be a part of. And thank you for a universe that we are also a part of. Thank you for all those we have lost, because for the amount of time that they were in our lives, we were blessed. Thank you for the blessing of memories and love. Thank you for all the holidays of the past and all the holidays to come. Thank you for places and people who make sure that no one goes hungry. And for those who do, thank you for watching over them and being with them. Creator, we know that we will never understand love the way that you do, but we thank you for teaching us in the best way that we can learn it, and for all of the special gifts you give. And most of all, Creator, we thank you for just being, because with you, we are never alone. And Creator, whatever it means to you, we hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful holiday where people do remember to thank you. Thank you for all we have and all we are. And we love you. For all your creation to the next 7 generations and beyond, Aho Matak Oyasin, Ago, 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 by earth, sea, and sky, Namaste, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, blessed be, and Amen.
I want to remind everybody that next week we're going to be celebrating Hanukkah. And so we're going to have a wonderful Reverend Ann Corbin is going to be, and I think we're going to be accompanied with Reverend Chris Brown. So if you have never had a Hanukkah service, this is a wonderful time for you all to get together and accept our religion into our family faith. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful day. And Sean, thank you so much for the wonderful talk. Thank you for the song. Thank you for being here. And I hope you get your car together. Yay! Blessings to each and every one of you. We so appreciate it. And Ed, as always, thank you very much, man. Yay!